If your formula looks correct, but Excel throws hashtag value, you're not alone. The frustrating part is that the error often doesn't tell you what's wrong. The good news is you can usually fix it in under a minute once you know the common triggers. In most cases, hashtag value means Excel expected one type of input, but it received another. That could be text where a number should be, a hidden space, or a function getting the wrong kind of argument. Sometimes the formula is fine, and the problem is in a single upstream cell. So the fastest approach is not guessing, it's isolating the exact piece that breaks. In this walkthrough, you'll use a simple checklist that works for sums, lookups, dates, text formulas, and more. You'll also learn a couple of quick tests that reveal the cause instantly. Let's start by decoding what hashtag value actually means in plain English. Next step. Here's the simplest definition. Value appears when a function can't work with the kind of value you gave it. Excel calls this a type mismatch. For example, adding numbers is fine, but adding a number to the word apple is not. It can also happen when a function expects a single value, but receives an array in a place it can't handle. Another common case is when a function expects a date serial number, but the cell contains a date-looking text string. And sometimes the value is technically text, even though it looks like a number, like 1234, stored as text. The key is this: value is usually not a math problem, it's an input problem. So your goal is to find which input is the wrong type. Once you find that cell or argument, the fix is usually straightforward. Convert, clean, or adjust the function. Next step. The fastest way to debug is to stop looking at the whole formula. Instead, test it piece by piece. A simple method is to evaluate one section at a time. You can do this by temporarily replacing parts with their cell references, or by calculating intermediate results in helper cells. For example, if you have a long formula that adds, then divides, then rounds, split those steps into 3 cells. If step 1 returns hash value, you've already narrowed it down. Another quick approach is to check the reference cells for inconsistency. Are some values aligned left like text, while others align right like numbers? Are there blanks that are not truly blank, like a space character? This isolation mindset saves the most time because it prevents random edits. You're not trying fixes. You're locating the exact failure point, then applying the right fix once. Next step. One of the most common causes is numbers stored as text. Excel might show 250, but it's actually the text 250. Then formulas like sum, average, or arithmetic operations can throw hash value, depending on the setup. A quick check is to select the cell and look for a leading apostrophe in the formula bar, or the little warning indicator that suggests conversion. Another clue is inconsistent alignment, or that the value won't change when you apply number formatting. To fix it, you can convert in a few ways. Multiply by 1, add 0, or use value to coerce text to a number. If you're cleaning a whole column, text to columns can convert reliably, even if you don't actually split anything. The important part is consistency. Every input in the calculation range should be a real number, not number-looking text. Next step. Another silent culprit is invisible characters. A cell can look blank but still contain a space, a non-breaking space, or a line break. That can break calculations, comparisons, and lookups. This is especially common with data copied from websites, PDFs, or exported systems. The classic symptom is that trim seems to help sometimes, but not always. That's because trim removes regular spaces, but it does not remove every invisible character. A strong cleanup pattern is trim combined with clean, and sometimes substitute for the non-breaking space character. If your lookup fails and returns hash value or related errors, cleaning both the lookup value and the lookup column can fix it. Also watch for trailing spaces after IDs, names, or codes. One extra character is enough to turn a match into a mismatch. When in doubt, measure the length of the text and compare it to what you expect. Next step. Dates are a special category because Excel stores real dates as numbers, but many datasets contain dates as text, like 2026-05-09, that looks right, but isn't a true date serial. Then functions like date value, edate, year, or simple subtraction can produce hash value. The fix depends on the format. If the date is text in a recognized pattern, date value can convert it. If it's split across columns, Build it with date using year, month, and day parts. Also be careful with regional settings. Day and month order can flip. Another trap is time values stored as text, like 0830. Time value can help there. A practical test is to change the cell to a number format. If it becomes a 5-digit number, it's a real date. If it stays the same, it's text and needs conversion. Next step. Now let's talk about functions that are strict about argument types. Left, right, mid, and find are text functions, but they can still throw hash value when you ask for something impossible. For example, mid with a start position of 0 or a negative number of characters can break. Find returns hash value when the text you're searching for isn't found. That's not a bug, it's how the function signals no match. The fix is to wrap those risky functions with if error or to check conditions first. For find, you can use isNumber on the result, or switch to search if you want case-insensitive behavior, but it still errors when missing. For text-to-number conversions, value is strict, but number value can handle different decimal and thousands separators. The point is to identify which function is expected to error in normal cases. Next step. Lookups are another hotspot for hashtag value, especially with XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, match, index match, and filter setups. One cause is mismatched types. The lookup value is a number, but the lookup column is text numbers, or vice versa. Another cause is inconsistent whitespace or hidden characters, which makes equal values not actually equal. With VLOOKUP, you can also get strange results if the lookup column isn't truly the leftmost column in the table array you selected, or if you're using approximate match by accident. With XLOOKUP, returning an array into a single cell context can also be a problem in older patterns. The fix strategy is simple. Normalize both sides. Convert both to text or both to numbers. Clean spaces, and confirm exact match mode when you need it. If the lookup is optional, wrap it with ifna or if-error and return a controlled message. Next step. Array behavior can also trigger hash value when ranges don't line up. A classic example is multiplying two ranges of different sizes, like A2 to A10 times B2 to B9. Excel can't pair those items correctly, so you'll get an error. The same idea applies to functions that expect equal length inputs, such as SumProduct. Another case is when you accidentally reference an entire column in one argument and a limited range in another. The fix is to make the ranges match exactly in shape and size. If you truly need full columns, use full columns consistently, but be aware of performance. If you're building dynamic ranges, ensure the start and end points expand together. When you're unsure, count the rows in each range. Once the dimensions match, these formulas usually start working immediately, without any other changes. Next step. Sometimes hashtag value is caused by blanks, but not in the way people expect. Many functions treat a truly blank cell as 0, but others treat it as empty text, and some treat it as missing. That difference matters in concatenation, date math, and logical tests. For example, adding a blank to a number might be fine, but using a blank inside a text-to-date conversion can fail. Also, watch for formulas that return an empty string, meaning they display blank but are not blank. That can confuse downstream formulas that expect a number. A reliable approach is to standardize blanks. Use if to return 0 for numeric workflows, or return NA for not applicable, depending on what makes sense. For reporting, you can still display blanks, but keep the underlying values consistent so calculations don't break unpredictably. Next step. Now let's cover a few fast coercion fixes, ways to force Excel to treat values as the type you need. If you need numbers, value is the clean option, and double unary, 2 minus signs, is another common trick. Multiplying by 1 or adding 0 also works, but be careful if the text contains commas or currency symbols. For text can format numbers into consistent strings, which helps with matching IDs that must keep leading zeros. For dates, date value and time value convert recognized text patterns. And for cleaning, trim and clean handle most copy-paste issues, with substitute for stubborn characters. The key is to coerce at the boundary, right where external data enters your model. If you fix the source column once, you prevent dozens of downstream hash value errors later. Next step. If hashtag value only happens sometimes, you need safe formulas. This is where if error, if NA, and conditional checks earn their keep. But use them carefully. If error can hide real problems, so it's best when you also know what a safe fallback should be. For example, if a lookup is optional, return a blank or a clear label like missing. If a calculation depends on two numeric inputs, check with IS number before calculating. For text searches, test whether the substring exists before calling find, or wrap find with if error and return 0. The goal is not to silence errors. The goal is to handle expected edge cases, like missing data, without breaking the whole sheet. When you do this well, hashtag value becomes a helpful signal during setup, but it stops being a recurring headache during normal use. Next step. Let's put it into a simple checklist you can run every time. First, identify which reference cell is the odd one out, text among numbers or a different date format. Second, check for hidden characters, especially if the data was copied in. Third, confirm ranges match in size if arrays are involved. Fourth, review any text functions that can legitimately fail, like find, and decide how you want to handle not found. Fifth, normalize your lookup key so both sides share the same type and cleanup. If you do those 5 checks, you'll fix the majority of number value errors without rewriting your workbook. And if you want to go one step further, build a small input cleaning area where raw data gets converted once, then all formulas reference the cleaned columns. That structure prevents the error from coming back. Next step. To wrap up, hashtag value is Excel telling you, I can't operate on this kind of input. The fastest fix is to isolate the first failing piece, then correct the data type, clean the text, or align the ranges. Once you start thinking in types, number, text, date, array, these errors stop feeling random. If you want one habit that prevents most issues, it's cleaning and converting your source data before you build formulas on top of it. That keeps your model stable and makes troubleshooting rare. If you found this breakdown useful, subscribe for more practical Excel fixes that save time. And for a quick check-in, drop a comment with your most common hashtag value cause. A. Text numbers, or B. Hidden spaces. Small tweaks compound into massive performance gains. Subscribe to catch the next workflow optimization.